They were the greatest 3-9 team of all time. What is up, everybody? It is Jake with Master Football, back at it again. Thank you so much for being here. If you've never been here before, Jake with Master Football, pro football, college football, video game football, anything related to American football, we discuss in the show right now. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I'd really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, guys, first question we have to answer before we get any farther into this video. Can Scott Forost catch a break, dude? Scott Forost, the former UCF head coach who took them to a big-time bowl game, is now at Nebraska, his alma mater. However, the on-field results haven't been there, and unfortunately for the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and right now Nebraska is not too bad, but not great. Here we are from Adam Rittenberg of ESPN.com. Nebraska football coach Scott Forost hit with minor penalty for coaching violations. Check down here, it says Nebraska football coach Scott Forost received a 1-year show cause order and a 5-day suspension to be served during the championship segment of the 2022 season as part of penalties for violating NCAA rules regarding countable coaches. So it'll get into that in a second here. You're only allowed to have 10 coaches, and they had one that was not really a coach, but was kind of being a coach. The NCAA's Committee on Infractions released its finding after Nebraska agreed to the level 2 violations and penalties as a part of a negotiated resolution. The school acknowledges that in 2020, former special teams analyst Jonathan Rutledge coached Nebraska players during practices and film sessions and also helped in in-game coaching decisions, which violates the NCAA rules for non-coaching staff members. The NCAA limits teams to 10 assistant coaches. And while many analysts are employed, they are not permitted to provide on-field or in-game instruction. Nebraska also had its probation extended through April 23rd, received a $10,000 fine, and received a reduction on countable coaches during 2 practices this spring and non-coaching staff for 5 days during the 2022 season. So it is, in essence, a slap on the wrist, but it's just, there's a tweet that we're going to get into here in a second that shows that it just seems like then there's nothing this team can do that can really come through. They're doing everything they can. It just isn't coming to fruition on the field. So from the negotiated resolution, it reads, the head coach failed to monitor the special teams analyst. He was present when some of the violations occurred and identified red flags, yet he did not consult with the compliance when he noticed these red flags to ensure the special teams analyst complied with NCAA legislation. And just to make sure we're clear here, I wanted to make sure I highlighted what show cause penalty actually means. A show cause penalty essentially attaches NCAA penalties to a coach, even if he or she were to move to a new school. If a school hires a coach under show cause, it can escape the coach's penalties only by appealing to the NCAA's Committee on Infractions to show cause on why it should not be under the same penalties. So regardless of what happens this next season, if he leaves, he still has 1 year to kind of show cause as to whether or not they should be applied to the same penalties. And this tweet right here from Alejandro Zuniga, this is a Michigan guy, Michigan football, basketball, but again, he says right here, Scott Forost going 3-9 with some of the worst special teams in America, then getting suspended for violations related to those awful special teams is the funniest possible timeline. Alejandro, that's kind of a jerk move, dude. Okay, I actually have a friend who's a pretty close Nebraska fan, and he was hurting from that one, so not cool, man. But it was not bad news. It's not all bad news for Nebraska, guys. It just seems like they were the greatest 3-9 team of all time. But now they have some good news for Nebraska going forward. And again, they actually had much good news in the offseason. We're going to get into that in a second here. But it says all Big 12 defensive end O'Shawn Mathis transferring to Nebraska. That's big. Former TCU all Big 12 performer is transferring to Nebraska for the 2022 season. He picked Nebraska over Texas during an announcement Saturday on Twitter Live. He earned second team all Big 12 honors last season, recording 4 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, going 3 pass breakups. So that means he looks like he's kind of like a linebacker, maybe like something like that. 6'5", 257-pound end from Manor, Texas, started the past 3 seasons for TCU, which made a coaching change on October 31st. Mathis has 2 years of eligibility remaining after redshirting in 2018. So it's not all negative for Nebraska out there, okay? I actually want to go through, and again, so they didn't do necessarily too good in the recruiting aspect, but their transfer portal was good. Their schedule lines up pretty nicely. There's a lot to look forward to if you are a Nebraska Cornhusker fan. So I wanted to bring this up. This is the 2022 classes. So you see Nebraska here with 18 commits. And again, 2 4-stars, decent there, but nothing's fantastic. Not like they have the, Texas A&M's class or nothing like that. But the transfer portal was much different for them. So in the transfer portal, they got a lot of help. In addition to have Casey Thompson, who is going to compete with Logan Smothers at quarterback this next season. I wanted them to have an opportunity to have somebody different than Adrian Martinez. That's the big thing with Scott Frost. Every single time he's played with Nebraska or coached with Nebraska, he's had to have Adrian Martinez there. So seeing somebody else different in there would be good. You see the fact Trey Palmer, 87 ranked wide receiver, 87 grade. You also come up here and see O'Shawn Mathis, 92 grade. Omar Brown from University of Northern Iowa's got an 89 grade. They did pretty solid here. In fact, they did it to the point, if you come over here and check how they did, they were the number 13 class in the country in terms of the transfer portal. Very, very solid there. And again, this is the crazy thing about this schedule. So let's check this schedule out here. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games as the home team. Keep in mind, I didn't say home games. We're going to get into this game here against Northwestern here in a second. But they basically have the month of September. What is that? That's North Dakota at home, Georgia Southern at home, Oklahoma with a new coaching staff at home, and then they have Indiana at home. So basically they have a home game or an away game, a neutral site game in August, and then the next away game they have is in October. So for the entire month of September, they are going to be at home. You see that home against Northwestern, neutral site, and then North Dakota, Georgia Southern, and then Oklahoma. So these 3 games right here are their non-conference games: North Dakota, Georgia Southern, and Oklahoma. And then home against Indiana, at Rutgers, at Purdue, Illinois at home, Minnesota at home, at Michigan, Wisconsin at home, and at Iowa. So those last 3 games are brutal. But check this out. First of all, that game with Northwestern is going to be, and again, it's going to be in Dublin. It's going to be off. It's going to be crazy. Okay, I would love to be able to go to a game like that, but it's going to be in Dublin. Really, really cool there. But again, that's going to be August, the very first game of the season. And then I was able to come to SaturdayTradition.com. So right here, this has 13 teams because it doesn't list Rutgers. So you check this out. They do not play Ohio State. They do not play Michigan State, and they do not play Penn State. They play Michigan, Wisconsin, and Iowa. But then they play Purdue, Indiana, Northwestern, Illinois, Minnesota, and then Rutgers. These are the teams least likely to win the 2022 national title. So they keep in mind they have the bottom of the list there. No Maryland, no Penn State, no Michigan State, no Ohio State. Michigan, Wisconsin, and Iowa are tough, and they are the last 3 games of the season. But it lines up pretty nice for them. If they can get off to a hot start, I think they can make a bowl game. I think that Scott Frost will keep his job. But man, right now, it seems like despite the fact that things are actually lining up pretty well for them, O'Shawn Mathis, did well in the transfer portal. They have a new quarterback situation in there. They've got a guy from Texas, Casey Thompson. A lot of people are still negative on them, and I think they're just going to take these little penalties and kind of rub them in their face. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think Nebraska is going to make a bowl game this next season? I personally think that they do. I know it's going to be tough. Again, those last 3 games are going to be brutal. And if they're anywhere close, if they're 5-5 heading into those last 3 games, well, probably what would that be? That'd be like 4-5. It's going to be an issue. If they have to win 2 of those last 3, I will say they are a much better team. They have a much easier schedule than last season. But we'll see, man. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I am out.